We had a couple of screenings of The Strait Guys this past weekend here in Germany that got me thinking about George all over again. At the one screening, there were these young people who were mesmerized by George and his relentless pursuit of his dream to connect the world by rail. They reminded me of how excited I was the first time I met him. It was at a conference in Washington, D.C. in 2010 where he was giving a presentation about his tunnel idea. They would go here. They would connect Asia and North America beneath the Bering Strait. You see, there's only 80 kilometers or about 50 miles of water separating Asia and North America, and George was determined to connect them. I couldn't believe I was standing there, face to face with a man with such a grandiose vision who had dedicated the past 30 years of his life and all of his money to trying to make it happen. So who was this George? It turns out he and his wife Elena were from Czechoslovakia. They fled in 1969 when the Warsaw Pact troops came in and ended up in the US, where they hoped to have a better life. I always sensed that this traumatic experience was somehow at the heart of George's dream of uniting East and West. But whenever I asked him about it, he kind of dodged my questions. But then one day he told me he was going back to his hometown, Brno, for a class reunion, and he invited me to join him. How could I say no? This was finally my chance to show George in his old world, to see where he came from. We cut together a scene from this trip and tried to put it at the beginning of the film, but somehow it just didn't work. We tried a few other spots, but it always kind of got in the way somehow. So, unfortunately, it ended up on the cutting room floor, like a lot of other great scenes. So without further ado, let's take a look at the abandoned Czech opening.
Kam se chystáš, Jirko?
No, klas, já jsem neviděl spolužáky.
A jak dlouho jsi je neviděl, prosím tě?
Já myslím tak 60, téměř 60 let.
Ale to je dlouhá doba, ale sluší ti to.
Okay.
Jo. Ty tvoje spolužačky tě ani nepoznají,
No,
prosím tě.
Ne. Já nepoznám je.
Jo? Tak, ahoj.
Okay, ahoj.
Ahoj.
Eva Havličková. Štěpanová není.
Štěpanová,
Už dlouho. Díl než jsem byla Jemelkou.
Oh my God.
Co to je tady? To máte objednaný?
Z Berlína, z televize, chtějí dělat o mně, mou minulost.
To je dobré.
Kvůli tomu, že jsem navrhl, aby se udělala železnice z Ruska do Asie a do Pojď si sednout.
Jo, sednu.
To se vám může zdát, že je to neuvěřitelné, ale ta Beřingová úšina je užší než kanál La Manche a nejdůležitější je, že tam je daleko lepší geologie. Aby se spojila železnicí Amerika s Ruskem a s Evropou. Protože ta železnice by šla přes Arktik, kde východ-západ vzdálenosti jsou nejkratší. Rusové a Američani jsou zapotřebí, oba dva národy, aby udrželi za 2 světové války, je v rukách americké a ruské vlády. My jsme přirození přátelé. Jak jsem se už zmínil, cár Nikolaj II. Si myslí, že založil Ameriku. No a já si myslím, že pan Putin se o to bude velmi zajímat, on to projekt. A taky Mr. Trump by se to měl zajímat. To zaručí. Největší pitomina na světě je válka.